Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Stephanie.
I'm Tom.
I think this is our TOEIC unit continuing.
I think you're right.
Yeah, day one, we were talking about the World Cup that was being held in Qatar, which is kind of interesting because Qatar is far, far away in the Middle East, and it's very hot. So they moved the date or the time frame of the whole World Cup so that people wouldn't die of the heat. You can die of heat stroke if you didn't know that. Now you do. But Qatar gets awfully hot. So they moved it back to November through December. So we're talking about promoting the World Cup for a restaurant called Ollie's Restaurant. We met 3 employees from Ollie's in the earlier program, Susie, Christian, and Nora. And they just were discussing ideas to promote the World Cup and their restaurant. Well, how are they going to get people to come to their restaurant and not only enjoy some free items, but enjoy some good food?
Right, so they've got some kind of letter that they wrote here, a pamphlet perhaps, a flyer that they're going to hand out or maybe put on the internet to get people interested in this particular event. And the title is Come Celebrate the World Cup at Ollie's Restaurant. So if you get this flyer or if you see this posted on the internet, you can read it and you'll know about this event. And you might be interested in having a meal at Ollie's Restaurant, especially during a game. It would be quite exciting to see that. And maybe Ollie's Restaurant is kind of a sports restaurant or a sports bar, which are very common in the United States and other countries. Not so much here, though. I haven't really heard of sports bars in Taiwan so much, although people here are definitely sports fans. They love their baseball. But that's another subject. Again, we're talking about this promotion, so let's find out more about it. Let's read the entire contents right now. Are you ready for the biggest sporting event of the year? From November 21st to December 18th, the world's 32 best soccer teams will compete to see who can take home the ultimate prize, the 2022 World Cup. We'd like to invite you to take in all the action at Ollie's Restaurant. We are running some special promotions to ensure that our customers can get maximum enjoyment out of this thrilling event. Watching the World Cup at Ollie's is far superior to watching it at home, as we provide a spacious environment with a spectacular view of the action on our gigantic screens. Delicious foods from around the globe, specially prepared by our legendary chef. Free prizes for lucky customers who can predict the outcome of games. The opportunity to socialize with and befriend other fans. The opening game starts on the evening of November 21st, so grab some friends and come on over to Ollie's for some fun. Opening night, November 21st, 2022 at 6 p.m., Senegal versus Netherlands. No entrance fee or reservation needed. A special set dish for each of these countries, DB for Senegal, bitterballen for Netherlands supporters. Anyone wearing jerseys or accessories for either team will receive an additional 10% off of their bill. Plus, we'll be starting our highly anticipated Guess the Final Score competition. Any participants who correctly predict the final outcome will receive a free drink or side dish for their next visit.
Okay, guys, let's dive in. Here's the title. It says, Come Celebrate the World Cup at Ollie's Restaurant. So we finally find out the name of the restaurant that are 3 people who were talking in a meeting, Susie, Christian, and Nora. So here's the first line. It says, Are you ready for the biggest sporting event of the year? Oftentimes when they have promotional advertisements or flyers, you'll often see a question start off, will kick off whatever's on the flyer or the pamphlet. That's kind of a small book, a pamphlet. Flyers usually just one sheet, back and front, or just one side can be printed with information. So they're telling you from November 21st to December 18th, the world's 32 best soccer teams will compete to see who can take home the ultimate prize. If you're talking about a sporting event or any kind of competition, maybe it's a fashion competition on TV, they'll often use that phrase, who will take home the ultimate prize, or who will win the ultimate prize, who will take home the cash, whatever they're giving away. And the ultimate prize here is considered to be the 2022 World Cup. But they have to get through that tournament in order to win the ultimate prize.
Right, that's the biggest prize in sport, the 2022 World Cup, or at least the biggest prize in the World Cup or in soccer. And it's kind of interesting. I've always thought this was kind of strange, but the trophy that the team gets isn't actually a cup. It's like the world held up by 3 women or something like that.
Oh, it's not a soccer ball. I've never paid attention.
No, I think it's actually the world held up by some people, and it's not really a cup. A cup is something you're supposed to be able to put water in or something like that. So, but I think it's kind of silly to call it the World Trophy. That just sounds weird. But this is the ultimate prize in sport, the World Cup. And, who won the last World Cup? I think it was France, actually, but we'll talk about that some other time. So, yes, indeed, we've got 32 teams competing in the World Cup, and they're all divided into 8 different groups, Group A, B, C, and so on. And the 4 teams play each other, and then the 2 best teams from each group advance to the knockout stage. And, well, here's the next paragraph. It says, we'd like to invite you to take in all the action at Ollie's restaurant. So to take in just means to enjoy something. You can take in a movie, for example. Gee, honey, it's been so long since we took in a movie. Let's go see a movie at the theater and have a drink and some popcorn, and we'll have a great time. And in this particular case, you can come to the restaurant, have a meal, and watch a soccer game on TV. I suppose you need to be there at the correct time.
Yeah, probably. That would be an important part. So they're going to take in or enjoy the action, go visit that place, see it, and they're all going to go to Ollie's restaurant. We're running some special promotions to ensure that our customers can get maximum enjoyment out of this thrilling event. So they already know it's going to be pretty exciting. They describe it as being thrilling. Something that's thrilling really gets your blood pumping. There's a lot of adrenaline. You get excited. A lot of amusement park rides can be quite thrilling, the kind that make your stomach kind of drop and make you scream sometimes if you're on a roller coaster and it drops really fast or starts going quickly. So it's kind of a fun event, and they want to make it even better by offering some special promotions to make sure, that's what ensure means, make sure that the customers get maximum enjoyment, 100% enjoyment or more out of this thrilling event. Watching the World Cup at Ollie's is far superior or much better to watching it at home. Now, then they give us reasons why it's better to be at Ollie's watching the game rather than watching it at home on your TV. What are those reasons?
Okay, well, first of all, they provide a spacious environment with a spectacular view of the action on our gigantic screens. So maybe recently you went to Costco and bought yourself a big TV with a big screen. Well, that's nice, but they're going to have a bigger screen at the restaurant there because they got a lot of space there. So if a place has a lot of space, it's spacious. So it's a big place, it's a spacious environment, and you'll get a great view of the action because we've got these huge, gigantic screens, and they probably have Dolby stereo in there as well. Yeah. Some nice speakers there. You can hear all the action and all the cheers from the crowd and stuff like that. So indeed, yeah, that sounds like something that's more exciting to see it on a big screen in a restaurant with other people. And they also provide delicious foods from around the globe, specially prepared by our legendary chef. So remember, someone in the meeting yesterday made the suggestion of offering food that is from those different countries, okay? So the first game of the tournament happens to be between Senegal and the Netherlands, so they're going to have some special food from both of those countries that you can enjoy if you come into Ollie's restaurant.
Yeah, and those special foods are going to be prepared by Ollie's legendary chef. So they have lots of cooks there, but the chef is in charge of all the cooks. There's usually a sous chef, an under chef, that's a French sous chef. And then they've got just line chefs who are busy preparing food. But the chef is in charge of everyone. They have to obey his instructions. He's described as being legendary, very famous, well-known. So I guess people have heard of this particular chef before. Now, they're also giving away free prizes for lucky customers who can predict the outcome of games. So if you're predicting the outcome, you're guessing the result of a game or a match between two different teams. So if you're able to do that, you're pretty good. So outcome just means the final result, the end result, a final product, the outcome of your new product launch. You could talk about that. A conclusion that you reach through a process could also be an outcome. So this is something they're offering if you're really good at predicting the outcome of games. Some people are really good at that and others are terrible. So you have to see if you're... But you don't lose anything. They're not gambling. So you could go ahead and guess, and maybe you'd get lucky.
Right. So you probably have to fill out some sort of card, put your name on it, and then write down what you think the score is going to be. Oh, I think Senegal is going to beat the Netherlands by a score of 2-0. Or I think the Netherlands will win by a score of 1-0 or something like that. So,
0 is 0.
0 is 0, yeah. They usually quote that in soccer scores, something nil. And, of course, they often talk about the final score as being the result. So, yeah, you can predict the outcome or the result of those games, and you can get a free prize if you guess correctly. And they also provide the opportunity to socialize with and befriend other fans. So if you're at home watching the tournament, well, you're there just by yourself or with your family members, and you already know them. But if you're in this restaurant, hey, you can socialize with other people, which means you can talk to them.
Yeah.
You can make comments. Gee, that was a really great save by the goaltender. Oh, yeah, it was wonderful. And that red card there was uncalled for. I think the referee is biased. You can talk to people about what's going on in the game, and you can befriend those people. Hey, it's been nice watching the game with you. Can I have your business card? Let's get together and maybe watch another game sometime.
Or maybe there's a really good-looking guy and you go with your girlfriends and you see him and you think, oh, maybe we could become better friends.
Hey, macho guy, I really like your build there. I'd like to get together.
Yeah.
Can I have your phone number?
No.
Oh, yeah, certainly.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the opening game starts on the evening of November 21st, it says. So grab some friends and come on over to Ollie's for some fun. That's a nice way to put this, I think. So opening night, again, is November 21st, 2022 at 6 p.m. And the match, or the tournament, the match starts with a game between Senegal versus Netherlands. So Senegal is a small republic in Western Africa. So if you aren't familiar with that, you might be interested, though, to go that night because you can try a special dish from that country called dibi. I haven't eaten that before. If you're more familiar with the Netherlands, maybe you've heard of this dish, bitterballen. I'm afraid it's probably some stinky fish dish because that's what they're kind of famous for. The Netherlands and Sweden and Finland all have weird fish dishes.
Actually, I think it's a kind of deep-fried meat dish.
So I'd be okay with deep fried.
Yeah, you'll probably have to do some research to figure out what that is. I have Dutch ancestry, so I'm supposed to know what this is, but I have no idea what it is. But they're serving it on that night. You can have DB from Senegal, and that, of course, is a grilled meat dish with onions, mustard, and bread.
Sounds good.
Sounds very tasty. And again, the Netherlands dish might be tasty as well. And of course, they're also saying that anyone wearing jerseys or accessories for either team will receive an additional 10% off of their bill. So, of course, you need to do some research. I'm sorry, I don't know much about the Senegalese team and what their jerseys look like, but I do know that the Netherlands always wear orange jerseys because they have the House of Orange in the Netherlands. So that's what they always wear, and the fans are always wearing orange as well. So if you wear a jersey from either of those countries, then you'll get special treatment there. You'll get an additional 10% off of your bill. So I don't think an orange shirt would count. I've got an orange shirt, but that's not really a jersey, so I don't think I'm going to get a discount. It's got to be an official team jersey.
And those are quite expensive. If you've ever been to a game where they sell jerseys, you know. Or if you go to a sports shop here in Taiwan and you want to get an official cap by your team or from your team, or a jersey, it's very expensive. But it is kind of fun to have one if you're a big fan. So these are some of the things they've set out. If you choose to wear a jersey or accessory, like a baseball cap, or I know there are sweatbands that you can put on your wrists that are for sale. Maybe you have some sunglasses that have the team's colors. Any of those things would count as accessories. Well, you'll get an additional 10% off of your bill. Plus, we'll be starting our highly anticipated Guess the Final Score competition. So that's their big competition, their big game that they're holding during the World Cup. If something's anticipated, it's something that someone knows about, and you're usually excited about it, but not always. Maybe you have an anticipated trip coming up where you're really excited about it. I'm looking forward to a vacation sometime soon. So here, they're going to be starting their highly anticipated Guess the Final Score competition. And remember, in day one, they told us they would have a game for every match that's played, not just the final match between the two teams that end up making it through the tournament. And one of those will finally win the World Cup. So if you do guess the score, then they'll give you something free like a drink or a side dish for your next visit. So that sounds fun.
Indeed. So if you know a bit about soccer and you can predict the scores of games, and if you know about the players and their rosters and all that kind of stuff, you might actually do good in this competition.
Yeah.
And a free drink does sound nice, or a side dish, but I think winning is more exciting than the actual prize itself in this particular instance.
Yeah.
Okay, that brings us to the end of our discussion for today. We'll be right back after listening to our Chinese teacher with some discussion questions.
Hello everyone, 我是派老师，今天讲解的是11月18号多益单元第2天课程 Unit 11 Come celebrate the World Cup at Ollie's Restaurant。 第1天的课程是一段3人对话，提到有这家餐厅就叫 Ollie's， 他们呢希望借着大家对世界杯足球赛的热情推出促销活动。好，那请同学特别先注意到第一段其实提供的是关于世界杯足球赛在2022年它的比赛时间，原来是从11月21号到12月18号，参加的队伍总共有32支。好，再来我们看到这家餐厅他们所提出的所设计的这个宣传的传单内容有什么呢？他就说 We'd like to invite you。原来他希望能够邀请很多客人一起来观赏赛事。怎么说呢？ To take in all the action at Ollie's Restaurant。 所以 take in 其实就是观赏的意思。All the action 指的当然就是在足球场上的这些球员他们彼此较劲的画面咯。再来 We're running some special promotions。除此之外，餐厅其实也在做一些活动 ，running promotions。好，再来，请同学看到后面，为什么要这么做 ？To ensure that our customers can get maximum enjoyment out of。我们知道说 get something out of something else， 就是从这个地方获得什么。所以原来啊，这场赛事是大家众所期盼的 this thrilling event 很刺激嘛。好，所以希望能够从这个活动里面 out of this thrilling event 获得什么呢？ Maximum enjoyment， 希望大家都很开心。再来，请同学看到后面这个句子 Watching the World Cup at Ollie's is far superior to watching it at home。 一样都是看转播，难道我就不能够在家里看吗？为什么我一定要去 Ollie's 呢？这里因为它就是要促销嘛，要吸引消费者前来他们的餐厅嘛，所以当然要老王卖瓜，自卖自夸，所以他就说，在我们餐厅看比你自己在家看好很多哦。Far superior to， 好，这个 far 是用来修饰比较级的，它这个字本身呢，其实就是比较好的，比较优胜的，所以后面的介系词我们是用 to， 习惯搭配 to。 那要请同学特别注意的是，后面的这个地方有加一个动词 watch， 对不对？一定要记得加上 ing， 因为前面这个 to 其实是介系词。再来，请同学看一下他如何证明在餐厅看会比较好呢？下面列了4样餐厅可以提供的，包括什么呢？ A spectacular view， 为什么？因为有大萤幕 gigantic screens。 再来，还有美食 delicious foods。 还有呢，第3个 free prizes， 原来是有奖的。为什么会有奖？因为他们要办比赛，看谁是章鱼哥，很会预测这个比赛的比数 predict the outcome of games。 再来，还有如果到他们的餐厅看比赛，还有机会可以认识新朋友 socialize with and befriend other fans。 接下来就是一些关于消费的相关细节了。原来啊，这个比赛呢，他们其实是在11月21号开赛。那从这一天开始，大家就可以呢吆喝自己的亲朋好友一起去这家餐厅了。Grab some friends。 再来，他有讲到说，其实啊不需要收入场费 ，no entrance fees。 那老师要提醒同学，有个字你们也要知道，就是 admission。admission admission， 这也是常见入场费的意思。再来，请同学看一下下面 A special set dish for each of these countries。 每个国家他们其实推出了一个套餐 set dish。 再来，请同学特别注意到，它下面也还有讲说会有哪些优惠请同学看到下面也列了4点。首先呢，就是如果你穿着任何一队的球衣来 jerseys， 或者呢其他的配件 accessories， 那你就有资格获得什么呢？ An additional 10% off of their bill。 所以原来可以打多少？打9折，少1成，那就是打9折。再来，请同学特别注意到后面，它这2点呢，其实就是告诉我们说，到我们餐厅会有哪些优惠的活动嘛。那第2点呢，则是指那大家都会想要知道说，这些比赛他们的得分是多少啊？所以正确预测最终结果的参与者之后呢，就可以获得免费的饮料 a free drink， 或者呢小菜 side dish。那这里我们可能翻成小菜，好像会觉得这很像是中式的餐厅。那如果是美式的餐厅，那指的当然就是一些配菜啊。好，以上就是我们针对多益课文第2天的讲解，谢谢大家。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Okay, here we've got some discussion questions for you. You've listened to our articles for the past couple of days about the World Cup, so maybe you have some opinions about watching sports at home or in pubs or bars. So that's the question. Do you prefer watching sports at home or in pubs, and why? That is, if you enjoy watching sports.
I do enjoy watching sports. I enjoy watching them at home if I have friends and family around. It can be a lot of fun, especially if you're on different sides. You're pulling for different teams. Pulling for a team just means rooting for a team to be successful. I have seen sports games in pubs or bars, but sometimes it's hard to even hear anything. Sometimes all they have is just the screen on, but the sound is down, so there's no sound. But it is fun to be in a room where everybody is excited about the game. That can be filled with a lot of adrenaline. What about you, Tom?
Yeah, I'm kind of mixed on this one. Again, as you said, if you watch the sport at a pub or in a bar, you can only really look at the screen. You can't hear what the announcers are saying, and you can't hear the crowd so much. You hear a lot of other people in the bar chatting about what's going on, but you can't really hear the action on the screen. In that particular case, I'd rather watch at home because I do like to listen to the sports commentary from the announcers and to hear the sounds of the crowd and stuff like that. But still, if you're in a bar and there's a game on, there is a certain excitement in the air. There's a certain atmosphere, and it can be quite exciting.
I like to listen to the announcers so much during a game that when I would go to Yankee games in Yankee Stadium, I would take my Walkman, my radio, and I would actually listen to the radio broadcast while I was watching live. Because I wanted to hear all the details. The announcers will give you stats and scores, and they tell fun stories. And just going, to the stadium and not hearing that just wasn't quite the same. Although I love to be there live too, but that's not in our question.
Yeah, that's very useful for baseball, I think, because they have the strikes and the balls. That was a sinker. Okay, it was outside. Oh, the ump called that a strike, but I think it's a ball,
right?
Etc. And that works especially for baseball. Do people still do that? They bring their transistor radios to games?
Serious fans do, and I loved the Yankees. So yeah, and I loved the broadcasters on radio. I thought they were great. You could do that with football and baseball as well. Baseball, football, basketball. Yeah, sometimes I even did it for basketball. So moving on to the next question. Can you come up with some other fun and interesting promotions for the World Cup?
Well, that's a tough one. They seem to have discussed everything that's possible. But,
I had one idea.
Okay, let's hear it.
Well, it's similar to come to the restaurant dressed in a jersey and accessories. I've seen competitions where it's they're trying to find the craziest fan possible of that particular team. And those people are usually willing to put on these crazy wigs with funny clown hair in the right color. They'll paint their faces. They'll wear crazy clothes. They'll just do crazy things. I would have a crazy fan competition where whoever got the most applause or votes in the restaurant by the people who are watching them, I'd have a catwalk, have them walk up and down in their outfits, and I would have a crazy fan competition. Those are fun.
Interesting. Perhaps they could have some sort of competition where people show off their soccer ball skills. They could juggle a soccer ball. How many times can they bounce it off the top of their head?
Oh, that's fun.
Or how long can they bounce it off their feet without dropping it or something like that? Maybe they could do that. But if they miss a kick, the ball could go flying to the restaurant.
And break some dishes.
Yeah, it would hit the rack where all the liquor was kept, and there'd be broken glass everywhere. So that may not be such a good idea. But it does sound like it would be very exciting in that bar during the World Cup.
Yeah.
And it sounds like Ollie's will be the place to be during World Cup action. Okay, that brings us to the end of our discussion for today. And hopefully all of you can have a discussion amongst yourselves that is as exciting and interesting as the discussion we've just had. From all of us here at English Digest, my name is Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
Bye.